Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Austin here, or Luna. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. I just woke up. It's 2 p.m. My schedule is slowly getting better. Things are going pretty good with me. Hope you guys are doing well. But yeah, I'm back today with a pretty good story time, pretty crazy one. I hope you guys enjoy it. And yeah, let's jump into it. So, today's story time all takes place back in 8th grade. Yeah, 8th grader Luna. Now, around this time, life was pretty good. Can't really complain. Life was definitely very simple around this time. Very simple. Had the same routine every day. Just would get up, go to school, get done with school, come home, play video games, eat dinner, and then, either do my homework or not do my homework. I wish I could say I was a great student. I did my homework every day, but I'm not going to lie. More times than not, I just didn't do my homework. And, that's probably why I failed a lot of my classes in high school, but that's besides the point. This isn't about how I'm a terrible student. Anyway, yeah, this all starts off like any other normal day back then. 8th grade, got up out of bed. I was up pretty early on this day, so I had a lot of time to get ready, and I spent most of that time just in the shower, because when I wake up early, I get super cold. I'm sure a lot of you can probably relate to that. I don't know, like when you wake up before your body wants to wake up, you're just freezing. So I just spend so much time in the hot shower and just try to warm my body up, right? So that's what I did. I showered for quite a while. And then after that, I got up out of the shower, ate some cereal, and I got on my school bus and started heading towards school. Now, my school bus and the people that rode it and the person that drove it, everybody was pretty cool for the most part. I had a couple people on there that were kind of dickheads. I've talked about it before. But for the most part, it wasn't that bad. And specifically my school bus driver, he seemed pretty normal, pretty chill. I wouldn't say he was good or bad. It's not like he talked a lot, so I didn't really know what he was like, but he also didn't yell at anybody or be really, really mean to the students. He was pretty chill, right? And a lot of the time in the morning, the school bus ride was pretty chill as well, because everyone was tired and nobody wanted to be crazy. I can't speak for the school bus ride home, but for some reason on this morning, when I got on the bus, everybody was acting insane. Absolutely insane. People were being loud as hell. One of these kids on the bus kept jumping seats, jumping over the top. And at one point, he banged his head on the ceiling. And it got to a point where the school bus driver had to keep yelling and being hey, knock it off. Now, as for me, I was being relatively chill, okay? I was talking to my friend in the back, and he was also being pretty chill. We were kind of being loud. We kind of had to yell towards each other because everyone else was just being so loud. But we weren't jumping the seats or standing up or screaming or anything, right? So anyway, we get about halfway through the bus ride to school when all of a sudden that same kid, the one that jumped the seats the first time and kept doing it and he hit his head that one time, he goes to do it again after he'd already been yelled at, right? He goes to jump over the seat and land in his friend's. And just like the other time, he smacks his head on the ceiling, and the bus driver sees it. But this time, instead of the bus driver just being hey, knock that off, the bus driver puts the bus in park on the side of the road, and he starts getting up. And I'm oh, shit, okay, now he really made the bus driver mad. We're about to get a lecture. We're probably about to get assigned seats. This is about to be shit, right? And yeah, the bus driver parks the bus. He pulls over or whatever, right? And he gets up, and he walks over to the kid that keeps jumping seats. And he goes, "What did I say to you?" And this kid's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And the bus driver's what do you mean you didn't mean to? You jumped over the seat when I told you to stop jumping over the seat. You don't do that by mistake. And this kid's getting all scared and, guilty, right? And the bus driver's look, final warning, if you do it again, I'm handing you a detention pass. You'll be staying after school today with one of your teachers. Now, to be honest, I didn't even know that the bus drivers at my school had power to do that. Maybe it was just that school I went to at the time, because every other school I went to, bus drivers would not hand out detentions. They could send you to the main office once you get to school and have the principal give you detention or something, but usually the bus drivers wouldn't hand it out, right? But for some reason, this guy claimed to have had the power to do that, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I would have taken his word for it, right? Well, this kid that was on the bus that kept jumping over the seats, he didn't believe him, because after the bus driver went back to driving and we pulled off, the first thing he did was jump the seats again. And immediately, bus driver pulls right back over, puts the bus in park. I see him reach down and grab this fanny pack thing he had, this little bag, and starts unzipping it while he's standing up. I'm assuming that's where he kept the detention passes for the students. But then something happened that I don't think anybody expected. He unzips the bag and he starts reaching into it to grab the passes when all of a sudden something falls out of the bag and rolls across the bus floor. It looked to be a pistol. It looked just like a pistol. It sounded like one when it hit the ground. It sounded heavy and real. And it just looked very real. There was no orange tip like an airsoft gun. There was nothing on it that indicated it was a BB gun or a fake gun. It looked real. It sounded heavy when it hit the ground. And based on the bus driver's reaction when he immediately dived to the ground to grab it, we all assumed it was pretty real, right? Now, immediately, some of the people on the bus freaked out. Like, two of these girls, like, screamed, and then one dude was like, what the fuck? And it was just pretty scary shit, right? Nobody expects to see a gun roll across the bus floor, especially on a school bus when you're, going to middle school, right? Like, hell no. Anyway, he immediately picks it up, he puts it back in his bag, and he tries to, like, play it off. He tries to act like nobody saw anything, and he just reaches back into his bag, grabs the detention slips, hands one of the detention slips to the student that kept jumping the seats. To which the student that kept jumping the seats goes, so you're going to give me a detention even though I just saw a gun fall out of your little purse thing? And the bus driver goes, it wasn't a real gun, it's a prop. To which we're like, okay. Obviously we didn't say that, but that's what we were thinking. Like, it didn't look like a prop. And the kid, the one that kept jumping the seats, the one that got detention, he's like, I don't believe you. I don't think it's a prop. I think it's real. And the bus driver's like, it's a prop. I'm not going to take it out and show you guys, though. It's inappropriate to have out. And the student's like, yeah, I don't believe you. I'm going to tell the principal. To which the bus driver, his whole dynamic switches. He goes from trying to be like, giving this guy detention to being like, oh, please don't do that. The bus driver's like, please do not tell the principal that. Like, please, I'll lose my job. I don't want to lose my job. And the student's like, doesn't matter. You shouldn't have that with you to begin with if you don't want to lose your job. And the bus driver immediately just like revokes the detention, right? He's like, all right, I'm not going to give you detention. Just please behave for the rest of the ride. And this kid, the student, right? He gets kind of an ego. He starts being like kind of a dick and he's like, yeah, I'll behave myself. And he starts like kind of getting up in the bus driver's face because he knows he's untouchable now. He knows that, he has this piece of information that could ruin the bus driver's life and get him fired. So he's like trying to act tough, which I thought was kind of lame. Even though the bus driver shouldn't have that shit in school and on the bus, obviously. The solution isn't to try and act tough now, like something that, could ruin his life, right? And yeah, he starts getting up in the bus driver's face and the bus driver's like, please don't do that. And then he pushes the bus driver. He like shoves him. And the driver's like, please don't do that, please. And he shoves him again. And the driver just turns around and starts walking away because he obviously isn't going to fight a student. And then he goes and shoves the driver again. And the driver trips on one of the seats and falls face first onto the bus aisle, like on the floor. To which a random person who I've never talked to before, some girl on the bus, stands up, walks over to the student that pushed him down, and just backhands him across the face. And goes, you want to fucking act tough? How about you fight me? And he's like, what the fuck? I'm not fighting a girl. And she's like, good, then sit the fuck down. And like, he listens. He sits down. This girl just humbled him. And I was like, yo, what is going on today? What is this bus ride right now? Anyway, the bus driver gets up, pretends like nothing happened, gets back in his driver's seat, and we start driving to the school again. This time, it was dead silent. It was quiet. Nobody said shit because we were all just thinking about the absolute insane events that just took place, right? Now we get to school. We're all getting off the bus. The bus driver says sorry to us like one by one as we're walking off because he felt bad about what happened. And we get off the bus. Now, I'm not going to lie. I had a feeling someone was going to say something and tell on him and get him in trouble because, why wouldn't they? The dude had a fucking weapon. Me personally, I wasn't going to do it. Should I have done it? Yeah. Obviously, if you see somebody that has a weapon, especially in a school bus, you should tell somebody. Even if they're saying it's a prop and it, could be a fake, you should tell somebody because it might not be a fake and then, it could be something terrible. But yeah, I was just young and stupid at the time, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to let someone else do it. And that's what happened. Literally later on that day, I find out from a friend of mine that also rode my morning bus that he saw our bus driver in the main office, like middle of the day, talking to the staff and one of the school cops. And he had a feeling that he got fired. And he wasn't wrong, because the next day when I got on the bus that morning, we had a new bus driver. It was this lady that I'd never seen before. She was brand new. She said that she'd be our bus driver for the rest of the school year and that the other one won't be returning, which basically confirmed he got fired. Now, I was pretty curious if he got arrested as well, because obviously if that was a real gun, he'd get arrested. So I started looking around. I couldn't find any kind of like arrest or any news article about him getting arrested or just anything about him at all. Like, I knew his name from one of my friends. So I tried searching it, but nothing came up. And yeah, after like probably a good 30 minutes of searching, I just gave up. I couldn't find shit. Well, the story doesn't end there. I actually find out 3 months later, right? 3 months went by without any of us knowing like what really happened. And 3 months later, the school security guard actually tells me. She was like a family friend of mine. She like knew my mom. So I was like in lunch one day and she came up to me and asked me how I was doing. And I was like, I'm pretty good. And I was like, how you doing? She's like, pretty good. I had to deal with like a fight on one of the morning buses today. When I got to school, there was a fight going on. I had to go on there and like break it up. And I was like, yeah, it's been a pretty crazy year for bus drama. Like my school bus driver got fired earlier in the year. And she goes, oh yeah, I know all about that. And I was like, can I ask you something? And like, if you can't tell me, I understand. What happened with him? Like, did he get searched? Like, what did he get fired for exactly? Because like, I knew it was probably gonna be related to that pistol. I just want to know if there's anything else, right? And I also just wanted to know like every little detail. And she's like, yeah, so a student came in, reported that he like dropped a handgun on the ground of the bus. So yeah, he got brought in, searched. They found exactly what the student was talking about. It looked like a handgun, but the police actually confirmed it to be fake. It wasn't a real gun. And I was like, so it was like an airsoft gun or something? She's like, no, not even. Like, it didn't even function. It was like a fake prop gun. And I was like, wow, so he wasn't kidding. So yeah, when the bus driver said it was a prop gun, he wasn't lying. I thought he was lying to like try and cover his own ass and not get in trouble, but he wasn't kidding. Now, why he had a prop gun in his bag? If I had to guess, he probably carried it with him outside of school to like protect himself. Like maybe if someone tried to rob him, he could, make it look like he had a real gun and they'd run away or something. I personally think that's kind of dumb because, what if the thief has a real gun and then they just pull it out and shoot you or something? That wouldn't be good. Yeah, anyway, this bus driver was dumb, right? He shouldn't have had this on him, especially at his job on a school bus. So dumb. I don't know if he brought it with him on accident or what. The security didn't tell me. But anyway, yeah, he got fired and the security guard told me that he also got in trouble because even though it was a fake gun, I guess it was still illegal to have something like representing a weapon like that. She didn't know specifically what he got hit with in terms of charges, but she said that he got in trouble. I tried to look it up again after this. I still couldn't find anything. I don't know if I had the wrong name or what, but I could not find shit. Still can't find shit. But from what I was told, he got in trouble for it. So I think we all learned a valuable lesson during this story. Number one, you don't bring anything that resembles a weapon on a school bus. Period. So yeah, whether you're a bus rider or a bus driver, don't do that. Honestly, don't bring anything that resembles a weapon anywhere in public or anywhere, period. But yeah, that's the end of the story time. That's the story of how my bus driver became no longer my bus driver. And yeah, it was just wild. It was just it was a wild morning, man. I couldn't believe my morning started like that. It felt like a fever dream. But yeah, guys, that's the end of the story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below and subscribe if you're new. I'll see y'all later. Peace.